I never imagined something so quiet could undo me. My fall didn't arrive with noise or warning. One morning I woke up and my world had shifted. There had been signs. I can see that now. The fatigue behind my eyes, the pride I dressed up as faith, the self-sufficiency I confused with strength. I climbed high, yes, but with wings that weren't mine. I flew on ego, on plans, on the need to prove I could do it alone. And when the wind of life changed, I dropped. I don't remember the exact second I hit bottom, only the metallic taste of failure, the shock of not recognizing the face in the mirror. I stared at my empty hands and thought, where did everything go? I had lost opportunities, friendships, confidence, even peace. But the deepest loss was myself. Who was I without my wins, without the costume of success, without the image I curated so the world would believe I was okay? Falling is easy to say and hard to live. The impact hurts, but the loneliness afterward hurts more. Those who once applauded step back. Those who said, "Count on me," go quiet. Even your own voice turns on you. God let you go. This is happening because you're not enough. I believed that lie for weeks. I tried to pray, but my words collapsed before they reached the ceiling. I opened the Bible. The letters felt hollow. My room became a desert, 4 walls and a soul out of breath. There, with tears for water, I said the truest thing I'd said in years. I can't anymore. It wasn't pretty, but it was honest. And in that honesty, something not me arrived, small, almost invisible. A brief calm, just enough not to give up. God didn't answer with thunder or spectacle. He spoke in silence. At first, that silence made me angry, but slowly I understood. It was a working silence, not an absence. Like a father repairing something in secret while his child sleeps. In that quiet, God was rebuilding what my pride had torn down. Days passed slowly. Some mornings I woke with hope, others with a weight that dragged me under. Between those rises and dips, I saw something new. My fall wasn't a punishment. It was a rescue. God didn't push me down to humiliate me. He let me land to save me from flying toward my ruin. There are heights that look like blessing but are cliffs wearing masks. I started noticing what I used to ignore. A call from someone I hadn't seen in years, a child's smile on the sidewalk, a sunrise that seemed painted for me. Nothing spectacular, yet everything meaningful. It was as if God were whispering, there is still life, there is still purpose. And for the first time I understood. His love isn't measured by a pile of blessings, but by his decision to stay when everything breaks. Nights were still hard. Memories pricked like thorns. Old voices followed me down hallways, but they frightened me less. I learned to sit still in the dark, to hear my own breathing, to say quietly, "I'm here, Lord, even if I don't feel you." Little by little that line turned true. I was there. He was too. One day I walked without a plan. The sky was overcast. Like my soul, I thought. I climbed a small hill and sat, expecting nothing. There, between distant traffic and the wind and my tired bones, a sentence dawned. The ground where I fell was not a grave. It was a workshop. God hadn't buried me. He was shaping me. I cried again, this time from relief. I saw that every tear had been a seed. What looked like loss was soil. The fall wasn't my ending. It was the way God was teaching me to lean on him. And in that trusting, something long missing began to bloom. Freedom. From then on, each day felt different. Not because the problems vanished, but because my eyes did. I started seeing purpose in what I once called ruins, beauty in what I avoided. I was still on the ground, but I wasn't the same. Somewhere inside, wings began to form, not to flee pain, but to learn to fly over it. After admitting I wasn't alone in my fall, came the long quiet of reconstruction. No one tells you the ground not only hurts, it teaches. At first, I saw no progress, only fatigue. But God doesn't repair in a hurry. His workshop is patience. Morning by morning, in the smallest gestures, something aligned within me. I rose early, made coffee, opened the window, let the light in. That simple light was my first miracle. a reminder that the world was still turning and the skies hadn't moved an inch. I began talking to him without a schedule. While I walked, washed dishes, breathed, I told him my doubts, my anger, my temptation to quit. Sometimes I said nothing at all. I listened. Listening, I learned, is also prayer. In those conversations, my heart came apart. Pieces of pride, the hunger to control, old false safeties fell away. What I once called strength was only fear in armor. One night, writing in a notebook, I remembered Peter, the disciple who promised loyalty and denied Jesus 3 times. That story always hurt me, but this time I saw something else. Peter had to fall to meet his truest love. Without that fall, he would never have learned to rise carried by grace. His weakness became testimony, and I thought, maybe my story can be redeemed like that. I looked at my failures without excuses, but also without hate. I examined them the way a doctor studies a wound, not to judge, but to heal. I named my faults one by one, asked forgiveness where I could. Where I couldn't, I asked God to deliver it for me. Every forgiveness lifted weight. Shame, I learned, keeps wings folded. God wasn't asking me to forget my fall, He was asking me to sanctify it. People began to ask how I stayed steady. I told the truth, nothing extraordinary, just honesty, just constancy. Faith doesn't always feel like fire. Sometimes it's a thin thread holding you while everything unravels. That thread was my daily prayer, my short readings, my practice of gratitude for tiny things. It was enough. Change wasn't instant. Some days the old self returned with loud demands, impatience, guilt, the hunger for recognition. I didn't fight those ghosts. I watched them pass. Grace doesn't erase fragility. It lights it. I learned to forgive myself with the same tenderness I believed God offered me. And there it happened. What I can only call flight. An inner lightness, a peace independent of weather. I walked that same road again. Where I once wept, I now walked with gratitude. Every tree, stone, and stranger became a syllable of mercy. I sensed God saying, "Look how much there still is to live." And for the first time in so long, I wanted to live, not just survive. I wanted to live well, humbly, purposefully, with love. I chose to serve. No grand plans, no scoreboard. I helped in a kitchen, listened to someone with my same bruise, gave unhurried hugs. With every gesture, something mended inside. You begin to heal when you stop staring at your wounds and start tending someone else's. God was teaching me to fly again, this time with wings of compassion. A line was born and met me each morning. I am not what I lost, I am what I learned. That conviction became propulsion. I no longer feared another fall, because even on the ground He would find me. The more I accepted my vulnerability, the higher I rose in peace. One evening, after a long day, I paused before a mirror. I saw tired eyes, lined hands, a small, real smile. I realized I didn't need perfection to reflect the light. Cracks were enough. Light entered through them. Then I knew. My fall wasn't a curse. It was a school where I learned how to fly without pride, without hurry, with love. Time taught me that flight doesn't always mean escape. Sometimes flying is looking from another place, seeing life from the altitude of faith, not the weight of fear. My flight was not like before. It didn't glitter with success or applause. It was a quiet ascent, held aloft by a new peace. That made it true. Freedom, I learned, is not doing whatever you want. It's choosing the good without fear as your king. Before, decisions were born of pride or the need to prove my value. Now they were born of love. I didn't need to be seen. I needed to be useful. The biggest change was not external. It was the tone inside my chest. Where once there was demand, now there was gratitude. Faith became a way of seeing. I found God in the wind that moved the trees, in the hush after conversation, in a child's laughter, in an elder's patient waiting. Heaven wasn't only above. It hid in ordinary gestures. My prayer changed again. I stopped asking for miracles and began asking, "Help me to see." The more I asked, the more I saw. Flying doesn't mean you never trip again. It means you fall differently. Fall knowing strong arms will catch you. When fear returned, I visited my ground, my workshop, my quiet. I told myself, don't forget where God lifted you from. That memory became my anchor, not to chain me to the past, but to remind me of the faithfulness that saved me. One soft, rainy night I walked without an umbrella. I didn't try to stay dry. I let the water soak me, as if each drop washed the leftover shame. I looked up and smiled, not because everything was perfect, but because I finally understood redemption. Not erasing the past, but forging it into wings. That change taught me to forgive faster, to speak less sharply, to listen without interrupting. I became more sensitive, more awake, more human. People began coming, those in their own free falls. Not because I had answers, but because my story resonated with theirs. Shared pain turned medicine. Sometimes all I said was, I've been there too. Those 4 words opened roads thought closed. I saw God didn't raise me only for me. He did it for them. When one person stands, others learn how. We begin to truly fly when we stop orbiting ourselves. Love makes you lighter. Generosity gives you wings. Every time I offered a word, a gesture, an hour, something inside lifted. Mercy became my gravity, no longer pulling me down, but holding me up. I learned that faith matures in silence, not applause. Trials weren't punishments, they were training. Each day carried a lesson. Some stung, all strengthened. Prayer, which used to be pleading, became companionship. I stopped asking God to remove storms. I asked Him to teach me how to sail them. I began to write, not to teach, but to remember. Each sentence became a witness to His patience. Writing was another kind of flight, giving shape to the invisible. In every line, I left a trace of the God who lifted me. One afternoon by the sea, I realized my life looked like the horizon, water and sky, human and divine, inseparable. I couldn't see where one ended and the other began. That is faith, living at the border of what you see and what you don't, and trusting anyway. As the sun lowered, a phrase rose clear. The fall was the flight you didn't know you needed. It felt like God's whisper. I needed nothing more. In that instant, I knew my story was not tragedy. It was teaching. Every misstep, every tear, every night without answers had been the language God used to teach me to fly. True flight began the day I stopped looking up and started looking in. I used to think flying meant bigger goals, higher peaks, visible triumphs. Now I know flying is living light, without the weight of fear, with a heart at peace. It's moving forward without needing applause, eyes fixed on the guiding light, not the frightening shadow. Each morning, when sunlight threads the curtain, I remember I'm still here for a reason. I whisper, "Thank you for not letting go when I fell." That sentence became both anchor and wing. It reminds me where I come from and where I'm headed. The past no longer chases me, it propels me. I've learned to live with my scars. I don't hide them. I tend them. They are marks of faithfulness, traces of a God who didn't grow tired of me. When doubt tries to return, I look at them and remember I survived nights I thought would never end. That's flight, seeing your wounds and knowing they name you now. They no longer limit you. We don't fly because we rise above everyone else. We fly because we let ourselves be lifted by love. That love found me in the most broken places, in the eyes of someone who forgave me, in the arms of a friend who came back, in the smile of a child who trusts without guarantees. Each encounter confirmed it. God uses people to remind you of your worth when you forget. I no longer hunt a glittering destiny. I look for roads where I can plant hope. My flight has become service, words, gestures, shared time. The faith that raised me cannot sit still. It needs movement. Every time I help someone rise, my wings grow stronger. God didn't teach me to fly to escape. He taught me to carry others toward the light. Some days the sky is thick and the wind is fierce. It isn't always easy, but I'm not paralyzed anymore. The same God who lifted me from the ground sustains me in the storm. He didn't promise clear weather. He promised constant presence. That's enough. When fear approaches, I close my eyes and hear, "Keep flying. I am with you." Life isn't a straight line. It's a spiral. We fall, learn, ascend. Every turn draws us closer to truth. Each fall brings new understanding. Each rise, deeper humility. A soul doesn't mature when it stops stumbling. It matures when it stops fearing to. Sometimes I pause beside those still on the ground, lost, tired, convinced there's no way out. I wish I could take their hands and tell them what I learned through tears. Don't fear the fall. What matters isn't how shattered you are. It's who rebuilds you. God is not scandalized by your cracks. He works precisely in them. What the world calls failure, He calls a beginning. If I could compress my story into one line, it would be this: the fall was my school, and the love of God my teacher. He taught me faith doesn't spare you from pain. It teaches you to use it. Hope isn't waiting with folded arms. It's walking on wounded feet. Grace isn't just comfort. It's the force that lifts you when everything in you has given up. Sometimes I go back to that place where I thought my life ended. I walk slowly, touch the ground, close my eyes, and whisper, "Thank you for this floor that held me." Because there, on that cold earth, I learned to depend on God, not on myself. And every time I rise with humility, I take off again. My flight no longer chases height. It seeks direction. I want to fly toward goodness, toward truth, toward peace. If I can touch a heart, light a little faith in someone about to surrender, I'll know I learned the lesson. The purpose of flying isn't to forget the ground. It's to remember those still standing on it. Today I walk light. You can't see the wings, but they're there. The will to live, to love, to believe again. The certainty that God can turn any fall into lift. As long as there is air in my lungs and light in my eyes, I'll keep telling this story, not to talk about me, but about Him, the God who allowed me to fall to teach me to fly. And so this flight rests, with a quiet heart, open hands, and my gaze on heaven. And if I stumble again, and I will, I won't be afraid, because now I know the ground can be sky when God is there.